Hello Flosstube, it is Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. This is Flosstube number 4. Can you believe it? Coming to you from our new time slot. So this will be airing Sunday, June 5th, 2022. And we're going to talk about some stitching and quilting that I did this week. As promised, I am going to share a little bit about planning. I have really, over the last few weeks, rethought my planning philosophy as far as how to keep track of planning, and I'm going to show you what I got and what I'm using. So yeah, we're going to talk about all the things today. So if you're new here, welcome. For everyone else, welcome back. I appreciate and love all of you guys so very much. Also, definitely stay tuned to the end of the video. As promised, I am going to have some giveaways today, so really excited to offer that. Let me see. Couple things. I have had quite a few, they're not really questions, more comments. And most of them say, do you sleep? And I know I addressed this last week. Yes, I do. My full-time job also is something that for many of you is probably a hobby. So if you are here from card making, that is my full-time job. So I very much look at it, even though it's delightful, wonderful, and I love it. I look at it as a job. And so I step away from it in the evening, which many of you are just probably stepping into it in the evening. And I thought I should address it just because I have, across the social media, across YouTube, I have gotten a lot of those questions. And so I am single, and so that is my full-time job, full-time income. And when I need to step away from that, it gives my brain a break to still be creative, because I really very much do thrive with creativity, but to step away from card making in the evenings, on the weekends, and do something else. That is not to say that I always do that. In fact, this weekend I'm having to do a few things. I say having to. I'm going overboard. So it's not have to. It's something I wanted to do with card making. But generally, I am filming this Saturday evening. I tried to give myself as much time as possible to get as much in for the video. But I felt like I should kind of maybe address that. So I don't want anyone to feel like they're not doing enough. That's why I wanted to address it. Do whatever makes you happy. I simply want to encourage everyone to be creative in whatever capacity, whatever hobby you love. So maybe you only have a couple nights a week to work on stitching, and on the weekends you want to work on cards. That is awesome. Please just do whatever lights your heart on fire. That is what I want to encourage everyone. So enough of that. I just really felt like I should probably address it. And none of the comments were bad, so I'm not saying that. I just thought maybe if I put it out there, I know I've left the comments that it's my full-time job, but that generally is just to one person. So I really wanted to just kind of put it out there to everyone that, you know, that is the case. And so for me, it just gives me a break to work on quilting and cross stitch because I have made cards or edited videos all day long. The next thing, oh, I know, I wrote it down. Good thing I write my stuff down, because I get on here and I start rambling. If you have found me through Flosstube, or you're only here, I know I got a comment from a viewer who found me because she was looking for Flosstube videos and doesn't make cards. Please let me know in the comments. That is so exciting to me, and I am totally thrilled you're here, so thank you very much. We are going to move on to Q&A, and I see that I forgot to... I mean, that's awesome. I forgot to print it out. I'm going to pull it up here on my screen. Of course, it didn't pull up super easy, but there we go. Let me just move some stuff around. Okay, this is going to be quick Q&A today. Also, I want to mention I have time-stamped everything down below. So I know somebody mentioned, thank you so much. I want to skip the Q&A. Awesome. So that's definitely why I do that. Julie says, what do you do with your scraps? Do you have a system for those as well? Yes, I do. I am not sharing that today. I have quite a bit of other stuff to share, but if I forget to share that next week, please remind me. I'm going to make a note to share my scrap storage for, I'm assuming she means quilt scraps. I will share that next week. Sandy Cooper, any suggestions on a good beginner quilt using a jelly roll? Also, should I wash the fabric before I start anything? I answered that. There is a great video at Fat Quarter Shop. I will link it down below. It's no funny points or anything like that. It's a fantastic beginner. I also started with jelly roll strips. It's one of the first quilts I did. I did Charm Pack first, jelly roll second. It's a great beginner, and I never wash my fabric before I quilt. I don't wash, because I know I got another question too. It's probably down here somewhere. If I wash my cross stitch fabric or quilt fabric, I never do. Jeanette, I have a quick question on cross stitch needles. Do you use any particular ones? Yes, I still have some Pat Carson ones, size 26, that I was able to get before they don't make those anymore, I believe. But Bowen 26 is great as well, and I also use those. Zigzag, any suggestion? That's the username. Any suggestions for finishing cross stitch projects for non-sewers? Any place I can send them to be finished? I don't know about anywhere you can send them to be finished, but I gave her this advice and I'm giving it to everybody else if you don't already know. If you're very much in the cross stitch world, I'm sure you do. Priscilla at Stitching with the Housewives, their YouTube channel is amazing and she does incredible finishes, no sewing. Very beautiful. They're so inspiring. So definitely check her out. Java Girl Stitches is another one. She has a YouTube channel here. I will link to both of those down below. Also, she does beautiful finishes. She does a few sewing, like little pillow finishes and things, but both of those ladies do incredible no-sew finishes, hot glue gun, some sticky board, and they make gorgeous things. Beth says, are you planning to do any videos on how you prep your material and begin your project? I definitely can add that to the list. Margie says, what is bobbinate? That simply means those little floss bobbins, winding the thread around them. So that's what that is. Brenda, how do you know how large the stitch should be? Do you count the weave and fabric? Do you recommend a class to get started? So lots of questions there. I definitely recommend the Fat Quarter Shop cross stitch calculator, linked below. It's linked in all of my videos because I find it an invaluable tool. You put in the cross stitch count, you put in the fabric that you want to use. Say you want to use 14 count Aida. You put that in, and then you put in how big of a border you want to leave around it. Maybe 2, maybe 3 inches, whatever the case may be. And it tells you the finished size of the piece and the size fabric that you put in, and it will tell you how big to cut your fabric. So for example, I'm going to tell you really quick. Let's say this is a great example. This is my A Moment in Chalk that I am working on, that I've talked about here before. And that's the last thing in my cross stitch calculator when I brought it back up here on my screen. The stitch count for the full finished piece, which I'll show you here when I get to WIPS, is 317 by 317. So I put that in. I did get 14 count chalkboard Aida to use. I put in 14 count Aida. I'm leaving 3 inches on all sides. I don't know how I'm going to finish it yet, but I really do think I probably will get it framed. And I believe for framing, they recommend 3 inches all the way around. I put that in, I hit calculate on that cross stitch calculator, and it says my stitch size will be 22 3/4 inches squared. And so it says cut your fabric to 28 3/4 inches. Couldn't be any easier. So that is what I always use. And let me put that down. And what are, if I recommending a class to get started, I have recommended the Fat Quarter Shop Cross Stitch University. I will link that down below as well. Connie says, Odin is adorable. He looks like an Ewok. Do you get that a lot? Yes, I do. I get that he looks like an Ewok or Chewbacca all the time. Jean says, my fabric gets creased and yours and the other stitchers who have WIPs seem to be so pristine. Is there a trick to that, or do you iron them before you share? I generally iron them before I share. I did not iron them today, so some fabric wrinkles more than others, but I do stitch in hand. I don't use a hoop, so I don't get that hoop mark. I don't use what is it called? A Q-snap. I don't use a Q-snap or anything like that. I stitch in hand. And so I usually try to iron them out. Rochelle says, my daughter passed away 8 years ago and I haven't stitched since. She was a child and scared to start again. Can you show me how to do it and how to use a finished piece? Yes, I've had a few questions on sharing how to get started or how to stitch, and I think I'm going to combine those into a video, so it is on my list to do. Jordy's cards. I have a question for you about both your quilting and cross stitch fabrics. Do you pre-wash anything before you start stitching sewing? I answered that earlier. No, I never pre-wash. And you know, one of the things about this, I remember way back in the day, I think I've mentioned that I started sewing. My grandmother was a great seamstress. She sewed clothes and she always pre-washed her fabric. I remember being a little kid and my mom and my grandma washing fabric. And so I really had that preconceived notion. But I have learned, especially the better quality fabric you buy, you really don't have to. When I wash my finished quilt, I wash mine. I know some people don't. I think most people do. Kimberly at Fat Quarter Shop doesn't, I don't think. She doesn't like it when it gets crinkly. I personally kind of like that. So when I wash mine, anytime, but especially the first time, put Shout color catchers in with it, and that's going to catch any dye that may come out. But I have to tell you, I have yet to have a color catcher come out with any color on it. And that's saying something, because you put those in with clothes and I get color on it quite a bit. Jennifer Spence, would you ever consider a cross stitch basics or tutorial? Yes, I would. I kind of answered that earlier too. Kimberly says, please do quilting videos. I would love to see that. I will definitely consider, excuse me, sorry. I will consider doing maybe some kind of basics and things like that. We'll kind of see how that goes. But I will add it to my list. Mrs. Darcy says, where do you send your quilts to be quilted? I do have that linked, I believe, at least in the first and the third video, and I will link it here too. Caitlin at Knot and Thread. And she has an employee as well. So they are amazing. I love her quilting. She does a fabulous job. She's really great to work with, is very good at helping suggest patterns that might look good with your quilt. I usually have a lot of input and help from her. I would say do some research, which is what I did. I used to use someone else and she quit quilting and she did a great job as well. But I did a ton of research because it was really hard for me to send my quilts somewhere else. And Caitlin has been a dream to work with. I highly, highly recommend her, but I know there's lots of great quilters out there. And you may even have one locally. I do send mine off, so there is an added expense of paying for shipping, going and coming back. Nancy Taylor, I don't think I've heard of Lugana or even weave. What's the difference? And then I'm going to answer that first, and then I'll get to the second part of our question. Lugana is just a type of fabric. It is even weave, meaning if you see a fabric that is kind of nubby and the little holes are not uniform, that's usually linen, or it's going to be linen, and it's just, I have stitched on it. In fact, my little Bats and Booze pillow last week, that was stitched on a linen. I've stitched a few things on linen actually. It's just a little trickier to stitch on. The even weave means that even though you're still going to be stitching 2/2 like you would on the linen, I mean most of the time, I know some stitch 1/1, even though you're stitching 2/2, the squares are uniform and it is so much easier to stitch, in my opinion. And I will give you a close-up of the Lugana because I have a lot of projects that I've stitched on a Lugana even weave fabric, and I will show those when we get to WIPs. Her second part of the question is that she talked to a shop owner who did lovely work and said that particularly with Gentle Arts or Weeks Dye Works Floss, that you only do one stitch at a time due to the variance in color. Otherwise, use DMC. And do I do that? And what are overall patterns? That's actually kind of a separate thing. So I'm going to address the floss question. Yes. If you use a floss like Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, or Gentle Arts, they are a hand-dyed floss. And because of that, they have lots of variation in color, and they recommend you do one stitch at a time. Most of the time, yes. There's a few times I've been super lazy and have not. But you get the best variegation in color if you do one X at a time. So yes, I generally do. If I'm going to use the specialty floss that costs more money, I'm going to do it that way because then you reap the benefits. And the benefit is you don't have to switch your floss color to get that great variegation. If you don't want to do that, use DMC. Much more economical. And if you want to stitch back and forth or back, and then come back across in rows, kind of the traditional cross stitch, if that's how you learned, that's how I learned. So definitely use DMC. So if I'm using DMC, and I will try to mention that when I'm sharing WIPs, you will know that that is how I'm stitching those. And then overall patterns, those are full coverage patterns. And there are some great YouTubers who do full coverage. Full coverage means full coverage. They are stitching the entire piece of cloth. You are not seeing the cloth in areas. It is a full coverage stitched thing. It is amazing and gorgeous, but way out of my skill level, I think. Nancy Taylor wanted to know what LNS is. I mentioned it, Local Needlework Shop. And she says, do you stitch one stitch at a time going across or do you go across the row one way or the other? I just talked about that. And Jamie wanted to know what my clear bins are. When I shared the photo of my fabric wall, I use bins. They're InDesign bins, and I will have a link down in the description below. That is it for questions, you guys. Yay! Okay, I am going to talk about planner. So I know I have a planning channel. It's still neglected. I really thought I'd get a video up this week. I did not. This is a happy planner. It's actually a happy planner notebook. So it's a little bit thinner than a regular happy planner. What I love is it's a disc bound system, meaning you can take your page, and take it out and pop it back in. So because I already know I'm a fan of the Happy Planner, I wanted something that I could use for my planning of quilting and cross stitch. But I found that the pages I was making were taking more time away from actually quilting and cross stitching. And I personally don't want my planning to be taking all week long and not being able to get some stitches. So I actually found this by watching a YouTube video where I believe it was Teresa Little Stitcher. She does a lot of the full coverage stitching. She's a UK stitcher. She did a review of this, I believe like 2 years ago or something. And I think it's Shazzy. Let's look in my Flosstube notes for today. I wrote it down. I'm sure I'm not saying the name right, but I will be linking it. If I can link it right here in the screen, I will, but otherwise, either way, it's down below as well. But it's an Etsy shop called Shazzy in Stitches, or Shazy in Stitches, either one. I believe it was $17.05 US, and I bought it. It is way more things than I would actually print out and use. But I thought for the money it was amazing because I can print out as many as I want. They are sized for Happy Planner, although you can resize anything that you find. I just didn't want to design my own. Now this is what I'm doing for cross stitch. For quilting, I can't find anything I like. So I am working on designing my own. If I make something that I think is decent, I'll just share it because I'll try to share it like as a PDF or something. We'll get to that when I'm done. So the sections I'm using are daily, and I printed out the little divider things, and I just wanted to show you. So I wrote down my WIPs, and then this is a monthly tracker. Did I stamp? Yes, I did, but that is very minimal. This isn't very decorative, so it's definitely not going to be like planner channel worthy, but you can see that I just marked, whoops, what day of the month it was and what I've stitched. So it just kind of keeps track of what I'm getting a stitch in each day of the month. I probably won't stitch. I mean, there are going to be days I probably can't. May, I really made an effort to stitch every day. But so far this month, but on the 4th, which is the day I'm filming this actually, I don't think I'm going to actually get any stitches in. I'm so sad, but we're going to see Top Gun tonight. Yay. Maverick, the new one. Anyway, so that is my monthly tracker where I can kind of keep track of daily things. I already printed out July. I did because I just wanted to go ahead and have it in here. I do have a Happy Planner punch, which allowed me to, like, these were printed on 8.5 by 11 sheets, and it does have grid lines, which made it super easy. It's 7 by 9.25, I believe, is the size of the sheet. And then I have a punch that punches these little things. I could do a quick video if you guys really want me to. Let me know. I'm happy to do that because I do have a couple other things I think I'm going to add. This was another divider page. You get tons of dividers. I thought this was kind of fun. Year at a glance starts. For 2022, it's going to be kind of hard because I didn't start this at the beginning, but I just figured I'll start where I am and I'll start recording it because I really think it would be interesting. I'm planning at the end of the year to do a parade of finished projects, and then a parade of a WIP parade is what it's called. And I think it'll be really neat to look back and see how many finishes did I have, how many starts did I have, all of that good stuff. So this is my starts, finishes, WIPs, and this is the part that I really like. So this is just going to be like a master list, a master list of WIPs. I really can't get things straight. There. And has start date and finish date. And really, this would probably be one of the sheets. This, and then the next one I'm going to show you, are the things that I actually like the most. I do kind of like looking at the month at a glance and seeing how much stitching I did. And then you can put each individual project and write down any information. So for example, up here, I have my chalkboard or moment in chalk. I have the design, the designer, my new start date, the fabric I'm using, and the brand of threads that I'm using. And I'm using all the called for on this one. So I just put in what I was using there. This one is the Halloween Rules by Lizzie Kate. I put my start date. That was my June 1st start. And then I'm using all the called for threads there. I also put the fabric. I'm using 25 count mushroom Lagana, so on and so forth. I have a lot of these. I printed out a lot of these sheets. I don't really have that many filled out necessarily. That's my Shine On sampler that I showed you last week. I actually did not get a touch on that, but that's okay. So I do have some other stitches, but instead of putting them in the stitching records, I'm putting them in the SALs, which is stitch along. Because they are stitch along, so that's going to include the Heartfelt Charity stitch along. And for that one, you can see that I did write down the floss colors I'm using because I'm not using the called for colors. And then I like that it has like all of the release dates. I already put my Boo Crew stitch along I'm going to do with Fat Quarter Shop in here. That doesn't have a start date yet, but I've already, got my fabric and floss, so it's ready to go. And I think those are the only two stitch alongs I'm currently participating in. I printed another sheet for that because I like it. There's so many more sections, but I didn't print them. I did do my floss tube divider. I did not print out the floss tube page because the floss tube page was like only this big for each section. or that was like 1 week. I'm like, oh, I write down way more than that. So I actually just use other Happy Planner paper and I write all my notes in it, but I can keep it in here and kind of keep track of anything, you know, that I might need to add for the next week. So you guys, this is my planner I'm using. It's working really well. I like it, and I'm planning, like I said, I'm going to make some quilting things. Okay, wow. Normally, this is not going to be so much of this stuff. It's going to be stitching. I hope this isn't too terrible long today. So let me go back to my planner and see what we have next. We have WIPs. Actually, no, we don't. We have finishes. My pillow tutorial. That will come out either Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. I don't have them all the way sewn yet. They're started. All the overhead filming has been done. We need to get to the sewing machine. I want to film the sewing. I feel like that's a more comprehensive tutorial, and so I just need to film that part and then put it all together and edit it. I don't think that will take too long. I do think I'm probably leaning more towards a Wednesday reveal for that video. So that being said, I did finish one stitch project. I was almost finished with it last week. This is the Primrose Cottage Stitches Land that I love. I did finish this little cutie, and I'm eager to start one of the other ones. I just haven't done it yet. I'm going to turn this into a little pillow. I hope this is a finish for next week. I wanted it to be a finish for today, but the week got away from me. I love that one though. All right. Next up, I have WIPs. So, Hive Rules. I spent loads of time the last couple days. Hive Rules is another Primrose Cottage pattern. Just a reminder, this is what the pattern looks like. I love it so much. I am stitching this on 25 count antique white Lugana. This is an even weave. Oh, I said I would show you this. The land that I love was stitched on 25 count mushroom Lugana. So same kind of fabric. And if you can just see, the holes are just very even. That's what an even weave means. I hope you can see that. Okay, so this is my chart. The part that I stitched, I think I had like the always and part of the B square stitched last week when I showed you. So I stitched Humble, the little beehives, Bumblebee, and all of the rest of these words. I think this was stitched, part of this. I had to finish this, and then I stitched all of this. But I love it so much, and you can see the amount of fabric, maybe I'll just turn it this way, that I have left. I don't have that much left, so I'm super excited. This will for sure be a June finish. So that was Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage, stitched with all the called for DMC. So this is an example of DMC. Oops, that's the pattern, sorry. That's something else I wanted to mention. So all DMC for that one, called for colors. I had hoped to get further on the Heartfelt Charity Quilt Along. Part 4 was released yesterday, I guess that would be 2 days ago from when this is going up. But this is what I'm stitching, but remember, I am changing all the colors. So instead of the Aurifloss colors that are called for, I'm doing a patriotic theme. I am using the fabric. This is, it's from Fabric Flair, and it's a 14 count Ada. Oh yeah, it does say on here, it's pale gray gingham. Now I actually, my hair is tickling me, sorry. Linked these in the description last week, and I am linking them again this week. So in case you're wondering, I love, love, love this fabric. It is amazing. And I think it looks so pretty I'm super excited. I am going to turn this into a little patriotic pillow for decor when it's all stitched. I got the rest of, I got the rest of the border right here. And then I did start stitching one of the hearts. So I didn't get a ton done on this. I really plan to probably stitch on this Sunday evening, I think. I'd like to get at least all of that second row done before I talk to you guys again. I have a month. I'm really hoping to get completely caught up. This is released once a month. And remember, this is a free chart from Fat Quarter Shop. All donations go to Make-A-Wish. And that does remind me, they offer extra charts. When the donations to Make-A-Wish get to a certain level. And this is an extra chart for the heartfelt stitch along. They also have extra quilt patterns, but I wanted to share this here. It is just a little 4-patch. You can pick 4 of your favorite designs from the chart, and you can make a little small one and pick your favorite colors. You could do like little Valentine's pillow. You could even make a little patriotic pillow if the big design is too big for you. So I will link to this down in the description below as well, because I think it's so cute. All right, let's put that with that. And then my other WIP. Remember, we've talked about a moment in chalk many times. I've been super frustrated with my fabric and fabric choices. But I told you last week that I bought some 14 count chalkboard Aida, and y'all, oh no, hold please. I'm back. So I know it may not look like a lot, but this is a lot because I was struggling. I was struggling on the 28 count linen. This is chalkboard Aida, so it's going to be a lot easier to stitch on. This is a huge design. I decided I wanted to love it. And this is only like about 1.5 days of work. I think it may be about oh, I stitched this. I watched Top Gun to get myself ready for the new movie tonight. And yeah, so I was really, really happy with this. This is the banner right in the center. I plan to work on this some more as well this weekend. But this is just the center design. I've shown before the whole thing. It's going to have little month motifs all the way around and a big border. I'm happy. I can see myself stitching this, and it's reinvigorated my love. So don't be afraid to switch to a fabric that you feel more comfortable on. This is way too big of a chart for me to be unhappy the whole time I'm stitching. Okay. That doesn't fit in that bag very well. I might need a bigger bag for that particular project. So those are most of my WIPs. I have one new start, so it's a WIP now. This is my June 1st start. I started Halloween Rules by Lizzie Kate. So I just want to remind everybody, they're all individual charts, and my friend Cassie shared the charts with me. And they're little individual designs. I know a lot of you probably already know this, but if you want to stitch them all as one long design, so it's going to be very similar to Hive Rules, you can download this free chart at Lizzie Kate. I will have links to this down below as well. You stitch this first, and then you stitch all of those little charts down like this. I am using the called for colors, which I believe they're all Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Arts, and then one DMC color, I believe. And I am stitching on 25 count Mushroom Lugana 2/2. And you guys, here's my start. I have a really good start on this one. It is stitching so easy. I have the whole Halloween done. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So I love it. I love, love, love. I cannot wait. I know a lot of you probably already have this done, but if not, I know I saw someone in the comments say that they were going to stitch it, so I'm really excited. That is my one new start so far for the month. It was my June 1st start. I think I'm going to try to have a new start each month. That doesn't mean I won't have other new starts, but I kind of like the thought of starting a month and having a new start. So anyway, that is all of my cross stitch. I do have sort of a haul. Not really. I do have another order coming from Fat Quarter Shop, but it's not here yet. It was supposed to be delivered today and it wasn't. This is not cross stitch related, but it's a stiletto for quilting to kind of help feed fabric or things that are tough to get through your sewing machine. I've wanted it forever and I kept forgetting to put it in my cart. So I got it. Let's just put it in my sewing drawer now. And then my other haul, this is backing for the Riley Blake 2022 block challenge. I bought my backing fabric. This is beautiful Sunday Stroll fabric from Bonnie and Camille. And I'll show you some of those blocks. I didn't get them all done, but we're getting there. And then I did buy this pattern. I totally know that this is not even seasonal. I'm not going to stitch it anytime soon. I struggle with spring and Easter. I love Halloween. I love fall designs. I love Christmas designs. I love winter designs. Easter, not so much. But I saw this from Madame Chantilly. It's beautiful. Here. I actually love a lot of the Madame Chantilly designs, but this is right down my alley. So I did pick this up and I'm going to slate it for spring next year because we're kind of past. I actually have a few. I have a couple of Stitching with the Housewives that I want to do, but we're going to add that to the spring stuff. Okay, quilting finishes. I actually do have a full finish for quilting. So remember last week I showed you my little Bats and Boos pillow. I did the cross stitch last year. This was on linen 2/2. It was kind of a bear to stitch, come to think of it, but I love it. So I did this. This fabric is a fig tree fabric, and I purposely finished it like with that fabric because I have my Bats and Boos quilt. It is, I don't have the exact size. It's more of a little, wall hanging size or decor size. This is the Bats and Boo free quilt along from 2021 from Fat Quarter Shop. You can download the patterns anytime now, but I love it. All fig tree quilts fabrics, and it's small. I will put the finish size in the description. So I got a little surprise for you on the back. This is a block I did purchase. I don't have the name of the shop right here, but I will have it down in the description. I meant to look it up and I forgot because I finished this a long time ago. It's been sitting, needing binding. I did a cute little Halloween texty binding from Fig Tree. So let me get the back because I really, really love the back. I found a boo block and I made a little ghosty on the back. How cute is it? So I love this so much. I love fall. I love fall decorating. And I really love this quilt. I'm not gonna lie. I wonder if I stand up if it's easier to see. Oh, maybe a little. Hold up. Yeah, I think you get a much better view this way. So there we go. And then I'll just show you. There! You can see my quilt label and the little ghosty on the back. So that is my full finished quilt for this week. I'm so happy to have it done. I'm really working on, wow, Ethan was kind of loud. Sorry for that. Talking to your friend downstairs on video games. So fully finished quilt. All right. And of course matches my little pillow. Both of those are free patterns from the Fat Quarter Shop. I cannot recommend them enough. I hope this year's is as cute as last year's because I loved it. That is my only quilt finish. My poor other quilt still sitting here needing borders. I'm still, you know, checking out different fabrics, seeing what works. WIPS. I only worked on 2 different blocks. I want to get back to my heartfelt charity. I even pulled it out. I'm working on it on Sunday. But I did 3 Moda Blockheads blocks. This is also a free quilt along. So let me see which. I know in the first video I showed you my first blocks. I am just going to show you this way again because I only have 5 blocks to share today. So I did block 3. And here is my block. I'm using all Fig Tree Quilts fabric. Let me back up. Oh, Odin, you okay? And I really love it. I'm probably going to do a walkthrough maybe next week if I should have quite a few more blocks done next week, and I'm thinking we'll just kind of do a whole walkthrough so you can kind of see all of them together and see kind of what it's looking like. Block 4. This one was super simple. Actually, all of the blocks I did, I felt like were pretty simple. And this is the 5th block I did, or the 3rd block for this week, but block 5 is what the block I did. And here is that. Very much, I have a lot of cherry motif. I'm using that a lot. That's actually going to be my backing fabric. I have plenty of it to use for backing. And my goal with this is to use what I have. I have lots of fig tree fabric. Now I have lots of patterns still to do. But they sew up pretty fast, so that should go quickly. Riley Blake, I showed you 2 new blocks last week. I have 2 more to share with you, but I have cut the fabric for all the remaining blocks. I just didn't have a chance to get them all sewed together. Here's a little reminder. They did release the finishing directions, and I am going to follow this finishing. The fabric, that's the backing fabric. So the blocks I did, and this part of the reason I didn't get them all done, this block doesn't look like it should be that hard, but oh my goodness, it took me a minute, but I like how it turned out. So here's my block. Super cute. It's a white on white fabric with little dots. I think you can somewhat see. It's starting to be kind of dusk here. It's a little bit late. And then I did this one, which was super quick, a single blossom, and I love this block. Oh, let me pull off my little stray threads. I did have to unpick a little bit. It wasn't super lined up and I was being a little picky, but this is that block. Isn't it cute? I could see a whole quilt or even like a little table topper with just this block. It's a cute one. I really like it. So those are my 2 blocks for the Riley Blake 2022 challenge. And you guys, I think that's all I had to share today. That's all I have on my list. So, giveaways. I'm going to have 4 giveaways today. I want to kind of give you guys a little general rule for this. If you have done any Flosstube giveaways here on YouTube, you've probably heard this from everyone. Do not say free. Do not say giveaway in your comment. People, I guess, troll through and look for that. Don't use those words. I'm going to assign each giveaway a number. Whatever you're interested in, please leave the number in the description below. I have 4 giveaways. If you're interested in all of them, don't say all, put 1, 2, 3, 4. The random number generator I use, I'll put in the number and that's what it draws from. So I need you to put the numbers in the comment. So I need you to comment, say 134 or whatever the case may be. And I will draw these right before I do next week's video. So I will draw from the comments on Saturday morning of next week, and I will announce them Sunday, and then they will go out Monday morning if you contact me. I will be listing my email for giveaways down below. It is a specific email. You have to email me at that address, and you have to be over 18 years old in order to win, because I do have to ask you for your address to mail it, with the exception, I mean, you have to be over 18, please, anyway, but one of the gifts is a digital gift. So with that being said, I totally forgot to bring something else in here. Wow, prepared much? One moment. Okay, giveaway number 1 is the Cross Country Stitching red, white, and blue issue from July, August 1991. The reason I'm giving this away is, remember this? Remember my pillow I made? I had many comments. I had mentioned this in Flosstube number 1 that I would likely give away this copy, my copy of the magazine, because I have stitched my pillow. So I am giving this away to you. If you're interested, number 1. And you can make this. I love it so much. Number 2. This is the Stationary Attic Pattern by Little Dove Designs. I actually took it out of the plastic thing because I had planned to do the stitch along with Fat Quarter Shop, and I did not do it. And it's the pattern only. It is a full color chart pattern, but it's a paper pattern. It is, so it's really easy to read. This is a wonderful pattern. I actually did not stitch it, but I would like to pass it along to one of you guys. So this is number 2. Number 3 is another paper pattern. This is a black and white, but it's a very easy to read pattern. It is the gorgeous Autumn Blessings by Shannon Christine Designs. I figured this would be a good time to give this one away to get ready for fall stitching. You could stitch it over this summer. It is so pretty and great for fall stitching. And again, this is a paper pattern. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4 is a $25 gift certificate to Fat Quarter Shop. That one, I will send that to you if you win. So leave 1, 2, 3, 4 in the comments, and this week's question. So you need to leave the number, and then you need to answer the question. My question this week is, what are you working on? What are you stitching? What are you quilting? Leave that in the comments, and good luck, everybody. Thank you guys for that. I don't know if I'll offer giveaways every week, but I'm hoping to do it fairly often. I have some more, but I figured we'd start with 4. Me again. I had to pop in here and edit this really quick. In order to be considered for the giveaway, you need to put 1, 2, 3, 4 in the comments. You need to answer the question. You need to subscribe to this channel, and you need to like the video in order to be considered for the giveaway. I will be checking, so I just wanted to pop in here and mention that. Thanks, everyone. And I guess that's it. I think that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer them next week. I may be moving Q&A to the end of the video. I haven't decided yet, but we shall see. I hope everyone is getting in some stitching or quilting or card making or whatever you love to do this weekend. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me so very much. It means the world to me. Thank you for all of the great comments and feedback. I love reading everybody's comments. I love responding to them every week. And other than that, I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week for some more Flosstube. Bye! If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and don't forget to click the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new Flosstube video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next week.